Hi, this is Damien Foley, and this is my MBA journey at the Melbourne Business School. And today I'm just going to go through just some things that I've learned from moving to Melbourne. As I said, I've come down from Brisbane, from in Queensland, Australia. So there is a very big difference being down here in Melbourne as to being up in Brisbane. So I'll go through some of that basically today. I'll just recap on what I've done yesterday as well, in addition to where I've finished off yesterday. So I've made some contacts at the university, at the Melbourne Business School. I'm going to hopefully catch up with one of the people that are involved with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students at the Melbourne Business School. I'm actually going to also hopefully catch up at some point with a student who's currently in the process of finishing the MBA. And they're actually another Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander student as well, which is going to be fantastic. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up with them. It's the time that's been organised is actually the first day that I start or orientation day for the MBA itself, which is Friday the 13th of September. So I will hopefully be able to catch up with them for lunch, but that all depends again on the schedule for the orientation day, because that is also at the start of our I think it's leadership. That's the first of the courses that I start for the MBA itself as the pre-course. So that's pretty exciting. I've also made some contact with some people in the Indigenous Student Support Unit, sent them off an email and waiting for them to get back to me, and hopefully I can get in contact with them at the University of Melbourne itself. Again, just as a follow-up, I want to see how I can get involved with that and get to know some people in there, and see whether I can get involved with around the mentoring for university students there doing their undergraduate degrees. Again, my background, previously I've done mentoring for University of Queensland, UQ, and QUT, Queensland University of Technology students in their final year of accounting or a business subject. So I enjoy that, and hopefully the students I mentored also got something out of that. So yes. Okay, so moving down to Melbourne. The first thing I noticed, I moved down on I think it was about the 17th of July 2019, which was obviously right in the middle of the Australian winter. So I came down from probably being in Brisbane, we were getting probably low as at nights, probably down 3 or 4 degrees, but our days were pretty mild. They were probably around, minimum 13, 14, but anywhere up around between the 20 and 23, 24 degrees Celsius. So, yeah, I was coming from that weather down to being around anywhere between the 8 and 13 degrees tops for the day, and getting down as low as 0 to 1, 2, 3 degrees here in Melbourne. So that required a big change for my adjusting to the climate, the weather down here. So that was the first thing. So I got here and I was wearing what was my heavy jacket for back in Brisbane, which I'd wear maybe 2 weeks out of the year during the evening, during the coldest part of winter, to wearing that every day. That was a big change. So, and I actually was here for 2 weeks, and I thought, look, it's pretty cold, but I'm getting through it. This heavy jacket that I've got that I had will get me through it. It didn't. We actually ended up getting into what was polar weather. So the weather, actually, we got a polar weather front come through from south, and it got really cold. So we're talking down, yeah, really, really cold. It was the wind that was probably the biggest killer. And so I went and I'd already went to some stores, because everyone around here in Melbourne are wearing heavy jackets, weather jackets. And when I say heavy weather jackets, I'm talking about like the type you buy from Kathmandu, North Face, Macpac, Columbia, those types, like outdoor weather jackets, the puffer jackets. And everyone around here wears black. It's just, I don't know why. Everyone just wears black. So I noticed it. So I thought I'd go and find out, and I spoke to a very helpful young woman at North Face. She was actually from New Zealand, I think the North Island, or and she was very helpful. So what I did when this polar weather hit, based on the information she provided me, the first thing I bought was this, a weather jacket, a heavy jacket. So the main thing about this jacket is, one, it's got a lining which I can actually zip out. I bought it from North Face. I think I paid $350 at their DFO outlet at South Bank. If I had bought it from the actual store, which was on Collins Street, or Little Collins Street, at North Face here in the city, CBD, I think it would have been about $450, $500. So I got it for $350. And you'll notice the colour is not black. I got a grey. I did not want black. I have to be just that little bit different, but not too different. So yes, the first thing is it's got an inner layer. And that can actually zip out as well. So yes, the other one is it's obviously got a hood, a wet weather hood. So during here, when I came down here, there was a lot of rain, a lot of rain happening. It wasn't always heavy, but it was there was a consistent amount of rain always some day when I was down here. It's a wet weather jacket, but as the girl in the store told me at North Face, the big thing probably down here in Melbourne is not necessarily not so much the rain, it's the wind, because you've got these big, tall skyscraper buildings that are channeling the wind. You're right near a bay, down the bay here, that comes from the Yarra River itself as well. So you get the wind channeling through those buildings, and the city itself, in the CBD, is probably the main area where there's actually tall building skyscrapers. The rest of the outer side, even the inner suburbs, they're pretty low lying as far as the level of buildings. So as you start to get about only about 1-2 k's out from the city, they're lower. The buildings are lower. So so that means when the wind hits the city, it gets channeled through the city. It's not getting blocked out by any other surrounding buildings, because there are none. So the wind is another big factor, because it's got a very strong chill factor, the wind here. The other thing I bought while I was there was a scarf. I got this from Connors. I think they had a 2-for-1 sale and it was like $7. So Connors, $7 for 2 scarves. I also got gloves, which I actually keep inside the jacket. I keep it on the inside of the pocket jacket, just for easy access. Because the day that I went and bought the jacket, the chill factor was incredible. I was on the phone hanging on to an umbrella, and my hands were freezing. So I actually also bought gloves, and I got these again on sale for $50. Probably the thing that a friend of mine told me to make sure about for getting gloves, they're just they're not a leather glove as well, but they do have on the inside the grip So if I'm holding on to something. The other thing is, you'll notice, I'll try and hold this up and see if you can see it. So I'm just using you can see there, it's got on the tip of the finger a little power sign, which is on the index finger. That's actually for using electronic devices, so my mobile phone. So when I'm using my mobile phone, it'll actually register, whereas if for ordinary gloves, it may not register. There's something in there that will pick it up. So that were the things. I bought the jacket, the gloves, and a scarf. I hadn't worn a scarf since I was in primary school, and it was one that I knitted myself as part of, yeah. So that's how long it tells you that I've been, but necessary because it keeps around the throat, around the neck warm, and you want to pull up the jacket to again block out that wind is the big thing, the critical thing. So the other thing that I bought when I was down here, I had a pair of boots, flat leather soled boots, shoes, dress shoes, and I was walking around the city. Now, the thing about the city in the CBD is you basically walk everywhere, or you can use the tram, but there's always some element of walking involved. And most of the streets here are still somewhat old, and there's parts of it is still cobbled, so they're a bit rough. And what happened was, walking in my flat leather soled shoes, was that I actually wore them out very quickly. Because I was walking on these cobbled areas of the CBD, or even in the inner suburbs. There's parts of it that are still cobbled. So it's when I was sitting walking on the balls of my feet, I just wore out, and I got a hole in my shoes, and it just ruined a very good pair of shoes. So what I did was, I invested in a pair of smart casual shoes. I actually got these. These are from Skechers. I got them from Skechers. So why did I buy this type of pair of shoe? So the first thing is that it's got a bit of a high ankle. So this goes under my fits under the cuff, the cut of the boot cut of my jeans, for starters, because for the rain, I don't want the rain getting in. The other thing is, the actual outer layer is a leather. I didn't get a mesh type of. I didn't get a mesh outer because, again, the rain. I don't want the rain soaking in and getting in. So the other thing is, it's a smart casual. So the top is pretty smart looking with leather. Probably the only thing that's, the casual part is, as you can see, is the actual sole part has a layer of cushioning, and yeah, it's a good solid shoe at the base. So a good amount of sole there, you can see, to get through. So that's why I bought these shoes for now. I do have still so they're my smart casuals. I can wear those just for walking around here in the city, just in general, and I haven't had any problems getting into anywhere at this point in time as far as clubs or anything like that for dress code. I'll see how I go wearing them for work. I think they're good enough, but in saying that, I've also got a black leather dress shoe that's a low cut, and that's a leather soled shoe if I need it for going to special occasions, special events where it's more dress shoes required rather than those smart casuals. So yes, so they're the first things I learned, was just dressing for down here. And the other thing is, as you can see, even today, it's pretty good today. The weather's pretty good. It's probably around the high teens, early 20s degrees Celsius. So around 20 degrees Celsius. So today I'm just wearing a jumper, a light jumper and a shirt, but also this jacket that I bought has enough room inside it that I can wear that on top as well for those cooler parts of the winter. So the big thing about Melbourne here is you layer for the clothing. So yeah, so I'm wearing a shirt, I wear the jacket, and then if I need to, I'll also put on the wet weather jacket. The other thing I've noticed when going out, so of an evening, for just casual purposes, I will just wear the shirt, some type of dress shirt, and jeans or pants of some type, and I'll wear the jacket. I won't wear a jumper or anything like that in between. The reason is the jacket will keep me warm enough and protected from the wind and the rain while I'm outside. And then when I get inside, most of the places here in Melbourne are actually very well heated, which is very different to, say, Brisbane, where I come from, where there it's more about the summers there, so it's more about the air conditioning during the summer. Here, a lot of the places are actually heated. So when you get inside, you take off your jacket and you're just wearing a shirt or a t-shirt in the place. So you don't need to be wearing a jumper if you don't need to. You can actually get a bit too warm. So yeah, when you're going out, the main thing is to have that heavy jacket. It's very critical. The other thing I noticed for wearing here in Melbourne, from coming down from Brisbane, is a bit more casual, a bit more lifestyle. It is a warmer temperature, so for dressing there, not so many people wear necessarily a jacket, a business suit jacket. So, and hardly anybody will wear a tie. Like, it's very rare that you'll see somebody wearing a tie in Brisbane. Come down to Melbourne. This is during winter. A lot more people wearing definitely the suits, the full suit. We're talking a full the jacket and even a vest as well. You'll see. So it's a three-piece suit with a tie. So that's something I've noticed. So I'm glad I've got a number of ties that I have there. Don't get me into what style of tie, where it's a thin tie, where it's a thick tie. I'm honestly going to assume that will vary depending upon where it's being worn. You know, business probably be a bit more thick tie, and probably smart casual is your thin tie. But again, that comes back to fashion and trends. So, but the three-piece suit, definitely in with a vest down here in Melbourne. So yes, definitely noticeable. So that is just about what you wear in Melbourne down here. Wet weather jacket, a outdoors type jacket with an inner layer, protects you from the rain and the wind with a hood, a scarf. If you want, you can get the gloves, and definitely good walking shoes. Smart for down here, because you do a lot of walking. As I was saying, public transport down here is pretty great. Like, so the trams here, you need to go and check out the Melbourne trams, the public transport, Melbourne trams, and for in the city, there are free tram zones, so you can catch the tram and not have to pay. Once you get outside of those, and that's pretty decent sized area that it takes in for the CBD, so it's pretty great to get around, and the trams are really easy to understand and work out. It does take a little while to work out, but a couple of weeks, but it's pretty straightforward. When you get outside of the tram zones, you do need to pay, and that's about, I think, around the $4 mark, $4.50 mark, thereabouts for one trip, and I think that's within 2 hours. You can use that. Again, check the website, the Victorian public transport website, what the costs are. But you will need at the moment, I think they're using just still the card. I've got what's called a Myki card, MYKI, Myki. a Myki card, which you put money onto, or can keep topped up for tapping on to the trams, the buses, and the trains here as well. So yes, the public transport here is really great to get around and very easily accessible. They can get obviously pretty crowded at certain points of the time, obviously during peak hour. So don't be surprised if you've got to pack into a tram or in order to get on and get around. It's not uncommon. And for some reason, people have this insistence, especially university students. I think maybe it's not just them, but they hop on the tram and just stand there in the doorway. Instead of moving down the corridors a little bit further or taking up seats, they stand right in front of the doorway, which is really annoying because there's all this space. But anyway, my little bugbear when it comes to public transport here. So, or people standing in the doorway when you're trying to get off the tram, trying to get on. They won't wait for you to get off. They're trying to get on the tram before you even get off to make space for them. So yes. But yes, so public transport is great. Trams in the CBD are free in the free tram zones, which are pretty well signed at the stations. There is the app, the PT app, public transport app for Melbourne here in Victoria, which will help get you around. You'll need a Myki card, MYKI card, for tapping on and tapping off at certain locations. Also, this is the thing I learned. For the trams, you only got to tap on once. That's it. You only tap once for your travel. Your trains, you got to tap on and then tap off. Different. And same with the buses, you got to tap on and tap off. So yes, there's a difference. Trams, you only got to tap on once, and that's it. So yes, when you're traveling outside the free tram zone. So yes. What else? Okay, I'm based here in the CBD. That was probably the next thing here. When I arrived, I was staying at Airbnb places because I wanted to get an idea of where I wanted to be living. The Melbourne Business School and the University of Melbourne are in North Melbourne, Parkville area, so North Melbourne. And then I had to work out where I was working. So my work was probably going to be in around the CBD or ideally around North Melbourne again, so I was close to the Melbourne Business School for when I go for my evening classes. So I actually looked for places in around North Melbourne and the CBD and Carlton and Fitzroy because they were in Parkville because they were close and convenient to public transport and the actual Melbourne Business School itself where I was going to be studying. So I actually got a place here in the CBD living with somebody else. This is all his artwork. He's another country guy. So from country Victoria. So I was fortunate to get a place here. I won't tell you how much I'm paying because it can vary. Probably the prices of rent will vary, obviously in location. CBD, you're looking anywhere between $600 and $700 for a 2-bedroom place, unfurnished. So the prices here at this point in time are not too bad. They're apparently coming down because there's a lot more places getting built. For example, around Docklands, there's still more units, apartments going up. So the price for investors, apparently it's a renter's market at this point in time. So I was happy with that, to be honest, paying half that price. So yeah, and where I am, it's an older building, but still has some features that are great. So I've got here the gym downstairs, which I use for morning now. It's also got a lap pool. It's got a sauna and spa as well, but I'm more interested in probably the gym. There's a barbecue area as well outside as well, so that can be used by the residents. And there's even a boardroom. that can be used. So it's great if you're having meetings. That's just where I am. There's a lot more apartments going up that have probably got a lot more other different facilities in them as well. So it is a compact apartment that I'm living in. The 2 bedrooms are reasonable sizes. They're not bad. I'd say medium as far as size for the room I'm in. I'm in probably the second room. The kitchen is basically a kitchenette. It's just a small little area of the kitchen with a small living room and dining room, all in one open space. So very compact. Lucky that we've got a 1.5 bathroom. So it's got the toilet is separate to the bathroom itself, so it's really great. So if somebody needs to, in that regard, again, it's close and convenient to accessing public transport, and I've got shopping supermarkets and that all very accessible. Public transport's accessible, and probably it takes me to get into probably about 10 minutes to get on a tram to the Melbourne Business School. And then I've got to walk from, there's several locations that I walk from. You can walk from Lincoln Park, the Melbourne University of Melbourne itself, or Flemington Road intersection. There, the roundabout. You can walk from those locations to the Melbourne Business School or to the university, so University of Melbourne. So all easily accessible by trams, but they are accessing that is outside the free tram zone. So yes, the other thing I've learned is the Queensland, the QV, which is the QV markets. So the Queen Victoria markets here happen on a weekend, every Saturday and Sunday. They sell, the main thing that I go for is the fresh fruit and vegetables. They also sell meat. So I have butchers there and seafood as well. They also sell other stores are set up there. So people selling touristy stuff, socks and clothing and all different things there as well. So probably the main thing when you go to that is to take cash, because you're dealing with the store holders, and it's quicker for them to deal with cash rather than handling handling credit cards for the FPOS, because of they're a store. They're not set up, so it's they're quick and easy with the cash. So take probably $10 notes, so they can break them down easy, and to buy your stuff. And again, Queensland, the QV markets are one part of it is actually in the accessible by the free tram zone. So yeah, Saturday and Sunday I'll go there and I'll buy my fresh fruit and vegetables. I'll buy my meat, except for chicken. For some reason, chicken is very expensive there. And then anything else that I need to buy, I'll go to the supermarket. So I've got Coles and Woolworths all within walking distance here. Okay, because of that, make sure obviously it's a plastic bag free zone and straw, plastic bag and straw free place. So they don't provide plastic bags unless you pay for them. So bring your reusable bags. For those that will be carrying larger amounts, probably get one of those trolley bags that you put your groceries in, so that it's if you've got a bad back or you're buying a lot of you can't lift to carry the bags, or you're carrying you've got a fair bit of groceries that you buy for. So that's very important. So going to QV markets, 1, make sure you take your reusable bag. 2, make sure you take cash. They do have ATMs, but you've got to wait in line to access them. So take cash. Probably $10 notes is probably the safe bet, to bring $10 notes, whatever you think you're going to spend, $30, $40, $50 for yourself. So yes, QB markets. What else? I've also been checking out the other free things here, which are there's the NGV museum. Art gallery. Sorry. So I checked out the art gallery. I've checked out there's also the International Gallery as well. That's on the other side of Flinders Street. So yes, been checking those out. What else? So art galleries. I checked out the museum here. It's apparently closing for renovations at this point in time, so that won't be available for a while. Don't quote me on that. I was only told by a friend. But that was $15 to go into. There is student concession if you've got a student card, which I'm obviously waiting for my student card. That I think that gives you, I think it's free access as a student to the museum there in Carlton Gardens, the museum. So the Victorian Museum, which is, yeah, it's pretty great. Check that out. What else? We've recently had there's heaps of festivals here in Melbourne. A lot more festivals that are happening inside and more cultural. For example, there has been the White Night, which just recently happened. Apparently, for the first time, they held it in winter. Normally, they hold it in February, and it's only one night. Whereas they held it this year in early September or August, late August, which was during winter, and it's of a night where certain locations will have light up with light spectacular. So they have different events on in those locations. So the museum was one of those. Carlton Gardens, Biamere. It's down by near the river. And there was another location. There's I think the State Library here in Victoria. State Library had an event inside as well for the lights. So that was pretty great to go to. It was cold again, wearing the jacket, cold evening, but it was really good too. Some other things that are currently happening at the moment right now is the Writers' Festival, Melbourne Writers' Festival. Then coming up is the Fringe Festival, Melbourne Fringe, which happens I think it starts on the 12th of September through to the 30th. So there's heaps of events happening around that. There's also the film festival happened. It's just recently over or currently happening or been over. So there's a lot of cultural festivals happening. I'm used to and happening inside rather than outside. Again, Brisbane, I'm used to those festivals happening. So Italian festival, Brazilian festival, French festival. They're more events that happen outside rather than inside because the weather up there accommodates it. So yes. What else? They're the things I can think of at the moment for what I've learned to coming to Melbourne. Public transport's fantastic. Make sure you get the right clothing. There's plenty of things happening around festivals, more so culturally based. Coffee, okay. I love going out for my coffee, my brunch. A friend of mine used to do it as a regular catch up when I was back in Brisbane. So now we try and do it just over the phone as a phone coffee catch up. And I've been trying to get coffee that I'm used to in Brisbane, which is a bit more. It's not as bitter here in Melbourne. I'm finding they're a bit more. It's a bit more bitter for the coffee. Maybe that's a bit more because the Melbourne has a strong Italian Greek community. So I haven't found. Oh, I found one place that was not too bad for the coffee. I didn't mind their coffee. It was a little bitter, but not that bitter as much as other places. Again, prices are pretty reasonable. Probably cheaper for the coffees here. You're probably looking at anywhere between $4.50 for a coffee, anywhere down to $3.50 for just a regular coffee. So yeah, and pretty reasonably priced as far as their food as well. So actually, I'm catching up with a friend down here on Sunday. He moved down. He's a doctor studying, and he's down here for a year, and he's in the middle of that period. Catching up with him for a coffee this weekend. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that place is. And again, that's more in a suburb, I think, North Melbourne. I'll be catching up with him. So, yes, just getting around, checking the places out, trying the different places, checking the coffee. I can do that right at this moment because I'm not studying. So, yes, when I start studying, might be a different story. And there goes my phone again for the lightsaber. There was a message, notification. So, yes, that is my experience so far of Melbourne. It was incredibly cold in the middle. Which I'm not used to. I had to gear up with clothing, making sure I got a good outdoor wet weather jacket with a lining, a scarf, and gloves. I personally got gloves. I made sure I got good shoes, casual shoes, smart casual shoes for walking around in that were comfortable to wear because I do a lot of walking. Public transport system is fantastic here. Really excellent, and the culture scene is absolutely amazing. It's incredible, and for the festivals and everything that's happening here. So Melbourne is actually. I was actually watching the news the other night, and Melbourne has been pipped again by Vienna to be the most livable city in the world. They came second, and then Sydney came third. So. Yes, Melbourne is a great place to live if you get past the weather. I have also been told that in summer, the summers here also get incredibly hot, in around the 40-degree marks, but it's more a drier heat, which is a bit different. So if you are looking for a place, don't just think about the cold weather. If you're looking for a place where you're going to be living, try and ideally get a place that also has air conditioning. They haven't probably factored that in. I know where I'm living here, they haven't put in air conditioning. I don't know why. It was an option they didn't take because it was going to cost more. It's an older building. I don't know. But yes, it's having air conditioning is a bonus, I'm being told, during summer. So yes. Anyway, this is Damien Foley. I am signing out. You can follow this on YouTube at Damien Foley, or you can follow this on the website at www.damienfoley.com. Okay, guys, I'll catch up with you later about more that's happened. Thanks. Bye.